Hi, my name's Cheri. Welcome to my Stampin' Up studio. Those of you that are on my email list would have gotten an email this morning letting you know of all of the classes that are either closing really soon or that I have reopened for just a short time. So let me run through those real quick and then I'll get going on today's card. So the first one is a free class. All you have to do is purchase 4 packets of paper. The paper is on sale this month in October. Not all of it, but the designer series paper, there's a selection of it. So purchase any of it. You don't have to buy the sale ones if you want one that's not on sale, but any 4 packages of designer series paper, and then you'll get a free class. There's 4 different projects that 3 different projects for purchase 4 papers. One of them is this fun little tree, one is a wreath, and one is a surprise project. So that's a free class. And you just have to purchase. If you spend $150, you don't have to buy the paper. You'll get the class for free. Then the 2 classes that I have reopened, one is in the Pines. You know, with our holiday, with any of our mini catalogs, we don't know what stamp bundles from that will make next year's annual catalog. So it's always just a surprise to all of us. Some of them will carry over and some of them will be discontinued. So I've chosen my 2 most popular classes because I'd hate for any of you to miss them if the stamp sets and the dies don't carry over. So the 2 most popular from this particular catalog were In the Pines. So these are not cards from that class because if you do the class, then they're just a surprise. But these do have tutorials on my channel. So In the Pines and Love of Leaves. These were both great hits and 2 of my personal favorites as well. So these I have reopened. So you have a very short time to take advantage of those because I'd have to order the stamps if you do the kit one. And I may even have to order a couple of the embellishments or papers to do those. So those have reopened. They will close again, and this time they'll close forever. I do have video only, so if you already have the stuff, if you've bought the stamps or you live in another country, you can do just the video. Then closing the 20th is the poinsettia class, and I chose these 2 cards to show you from the poinsettia class because you don't even see the poinsettia on them. So don't think that just because you bought a poinsettia stamp set that means you're stuck with poinsettias forever. Both of these are up. This is the poinsettia flowers, but I changed it into leaves. And then this one, I just used a lot of the dies to make a bouquet. So this one does close the soonest of any of them. This is October 20th. It's a free class if you purchase the suite from me, or you can just do the videos. So that one closes really soon. Then closing November 1st, and a super fun class. This one I'm really looking forward to is the Curvy Celebrations. You get 2 stamp sets, a die, and a pack of paper if you do the kit plus the supplies to make the 4 projects. So this one will close, and then this one may only have 1 session. Sometimes I do 2 sessions, but it's Thanksgiving and it's the holidays and we have on stage, and I'll be getting ready for my Try It class, which is my biggest class of any quarter that I offer those. So this may be a one and done. So get on that because that Christmas set that's in it is a limited edition. And then also in November upcoming is the Snowflake Splendor class. So that's the other one I'll be focusing on in November. So that is like getting us almost done with 2020. Who's ready to be done with 2020, right? So for today, we're going to take it back. It's really funny because I have camp this week. So my camps, I know I haven't been putting them in my emails because we're just keeping it small groups. So it's just for my campers who always come. So when things open back up, if you're in the Indy area, then I will advertise them again. But for right now, it's just for my local girls. So I'm using the Snowglobe, which I purchased last year, and then we never got around to using at camp. But I'm just going to use the dies, and then I'm going to mix it up with the For Unto Us. So you don't have to have the Snowglobe stamps because I'm not going to use those. I'm just going to use this, and really you could use any of them. I was really torn. I think this is the only one that wouldn't fit on the card. All the rest of them would fit, but I'm going to go with Christmas Begins with Christ because it's my favorite. I was torn because this one I really like too. The Oh Come Let Us Adore Him, and then this one you could put on the inside. I'm not going to stamp the inside just for time. I might stamp it and then put it on my blog if you want to go back and see. Then I went with Shimmer White because always go with Shimmer White if it's a choice. It's beautiful and it stamps pretty. And then Cinnamon Cider because it's going to be a little rustic. And then I'm going to do one of those ones because I have some scrap paper laying on my desk. The card I've already done is going to be a little bit different than the one I'm going to do now. So then we can see which one we like best. And then I'll pick the one I liked the best for them to do at camp this week. Because I bought this stuff and I think that perhaps the Snowglobe things were on back order, and that's why we never did them last year. So I'm going to take the cinnamon cider and stamp my greeting just down here on the bottom, and I'm going to do that first because, you know, if you get your greeting, if you smudge it or if it's crooked, then you have another side of the paper. But if you do it after you've done everything else and it's smeared or it's crooked, then you're stuck with it. So we have this really pretty, it's a beautiful font, and I'm okay with that. It's a tad bit crooked, but we're gonna use some other stuff on this, so it won't be obvious. So now you just need all the little dies. So for this one, I'm gonna do another one for you too, because I don't think I did any videos with this last year, because I think this stuff went on back order and I was a little irritated, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna, we did do it at a demonstrator event. So I need 2 sets of the trees, but I'm gonna do a more masculine looking one. I may do it this week, probably not, because I'm gonna pack this up for camp. So probably next week. But we'll do a totally different looking project with this same set of dies. I don't even remember what the stamp set looks like, so maybe I'll use the stamps. And then you need one of the church. So the church is 2 pieces. So you can see, I don't want to waste any of the shimmer white, so just kind of get the size that you need here. And then this cuts your snow globe out. And then here's where I'm really switching the colors up. I've got a piece of scrap of the Balmy Blue glitter paper, which is the best seller from this catalog, so I know a lot of you have it. Then I've got a piece of copper foil, which was also scrap. And I'm going to go ahead and put our adhesive sheet on the back of it, because it'll just make it easier to stick the overlay on top. I love this stuff. If you do a lot of the more intricate dies, then get this, because it just makes it so much easier to turn it into a sticker as opposed to try to get that on there. So let's run all this stuff through. So because I need to do 2 trees, there's no sense in trying to get it all on at once, because it's not gonna fit, because I need 2 trees and they only give us 1. So let's get part of it on here now. This glimmer paper, like I said, it's a scrap, but it just fits. I can't see where I laid them. We have a downline meeting tonight via Zoom, because, you know, we're everywhere, literally from one side of the United States to the other. But because it's the designer series paper thing, everybody's sharing a project that they've made. Some people will demo, some people will just share it. And I've sent them all the paper to do mine, so we can all do a make and take together. So I'm looking forward to that. But I do need to, when you Zoom and you stamp, you need to clear off your space, because my space does not have room right now for my laptop and stamping at the same time. So I'm trying to get this filmed so I can move on. So I need another tree. So with this, you need to take your snow globe piece. It needs to be straight. So let me get it on here so I don't move it. Because this is going to determine where your snow globe fits. So I put this as close to the bottom as I could, because you remember you have the little stand it's going to sit on. And then there is a little bit of tape that sticks out the top of the shaker. So you need to allow room for that. And then you want it to be centered and straight. So get that on there. Run that through. And so I've got the old rolled paper. This is why this didn't have to be perfectly straight. And a lot of times when I'm doing, like if you're making these for your Christmas cards, you can use your Stamparatus. That is one way to get them all perfectly straight. But this is another, because once you wrinkle this up, if it's not exactly perfectly straight, then the little wrinkles in the paper will help take care of that. I'm gonna try something because these are tiny, and I realized when I was painting them before, my hands cover up so much what you guys see. So I'm going to put, because this is repositionable, I'm gonna put just a tad of adhesive on this little piece of scrap. Was the end of my grid paper. And then here's this, and because it's got the sticker paper on it, this will stick a little bit. When you pull the sticker paper off, it often brings all of that with it. It also makes a mess on my table, which is another reason I wanted to do this, so I can get it all cleaned up before our group meeting tonight. If you've ever thought about joining Stampin' Up, we'd love to have you be part of our team. We have a great time. You get a discount on everything you buy. But now you can see, because I've got this sticker stuff on here, this is going to look a little bit more princessy than my other one, because my other one's is all metallic. But see how much easier that is to have those adhesive sheets on there, and they're in the back of the catalog. If you have a catalog, I will put the shopping link down below. But it's so much easier than trying to mess with glue or glue dots or anything to try to get it on there. And now it is also a little bit better for the scrap because you can throw all that away. Okay, let's paint these, and I do need a tiny bit of scrap, but I have that from some of my curvy things that I've been doing. So part of this I'm going to use to clean my brush, and part of it I'm going to use to make the windows for my church. So we're going to paint it. Also going to paint this. So get everything ready to paint. Everything ready to go in my cute bucket. Trying to do two things at once. So let's do we're gonna start with the lightest colors first. So let's go. We have two sets of trees, and I'm gonna layer them. I crammed as much stuff into this little church as I could. If you saw my dry brush technique to do the last two fall cards, I'm doing the same thing with my ink pads, but this time we are not using a dry brush because we want it sparkly because it's a snow globe. So this is soft sea foam. I'm going to take my Champagne Mist Shimmer paint, shake it up so I can get a bunch in the lid, and I'm going to use the lid for my medium. This is a old Stella that's empty, but if you keep the lid on it, then it works just perfectly. So pick up a bunch of paint, and then come over here and grab the color. And oh look, now you don't see my hands in the way. As I was doing this before, I was like, all they're going to see is my hands. These are kind of delicate. So you need to keep your brush wet with the Champagne Mist. Otherwise, it will just smear ink on there. You could do it with water, and because it's the Shimmer cardstock, it's still going to be sparkly. This is just sparkle on a whole new level. And you don't need to get every spot of the trees because it's a snow globe and there's snow on them. So there we have the tree in the sea foam, and then I'm going to take just a little bit and kind of clean off my brush over here on the card front and just wisp it over the little pines that are here. Just kind of pull that into it, and then just wipe it off here. And then let's go to our next screen, which I have Pear Pizzazz, which is, it's a light old olive. Squish some ink on it. And grab a bunch of this and just kind of wisp it on here. This dries quickly, so you don't want to put a whole lot in there. I'm still holding it, even though I don't have to. It's habit. So you want to work really quickly, but it's easy to work quickly when you're just doing this. And I'm kind of going the same way, so it looks like the snow just kind of hit the tree. Like it blew on one side, which if you live someplace where it snows, you know that happens, or the sun hits and it melts on one side of the tree. And clean this off. Okay, now let's get Seaside Spray. I should have maybe switched to the Balmy Blue since I used that glimmer paper in here, but I don't think it's really going to make a difference. And this we want to be our sky. So get a big wisp of this and just go straight across the back. And this has a gold tinge to it. So your sky is going to have some gold to it. And then again, just make sure you clean it off. So this will make the windows for our church. You can see the windows all fell out. So we just need to make some. So I have the bumblebee. Get a wisp of this out of here. And then you're just going to make a section of light. Just like this. And it can be pretty yellow. And clean that off. My other one on the other card is blue down here, but we'll go with a different, just this little banner that says with. Just add that. And then just get that off there. And just make sure you always put your brush away clean. And then that way it kind of helps the staining on it. Fold that in half. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay this piece on here. And you can see this is where you want your card to line up, right? But we don't want to stick this on because we have a lot to do before we get to that point. But this is going to be everything that we stick our stuff to. So take your adhesive, keep this where you want it. And then just stick this back in the puzzle piece. Lift that off. Now we can build our things in here and we'll make sure everything fits. So start with your darkest trees. Just be careful when you pull, well, you won't be pulling yours off because you can have your fingers in yours. So you want your trees to overshow. So these are going to be the back ones. So I want it to be as high as it is, but it needs to stay inside your snow globe. So just put a little bit of adhesive. It already has a little bit actually because it mostly stuck on there. So I'm going to put it clear to the top and over to the side because I'm going to do 2 of them. So stick that one there. And then I'm going to take for the other one, the tiny little dimensionals. Carefully pull this off of my And it just takes a couple because it's going to be protected inside of the snow globe. So you don't need very many. Nothing in this is going to get squished because it's going to have that globe over the top of it. So now you want this one to be a little bit lower and a little bit over. But again, you need to make sure it stays inside the globe. And that's where I stuck those. Now we need to make the windows for our church. So we have all of our yellow. So let's start with the back. So you can see you just need to cut some yellow. And this one already has the adhesive because I accidentally stuck it on there. So, okay, so now put this one on here. And I take a little bit of adhesive and stick it on top of the little church in between the steeple and the building. And just pinch there. And then just take your snips underneath it and just trim it. It's gonna be ugly on the back, but nobody's ever gonna see it, especially because it's inside this globe. And literally just trim around it. Take these other pieces that you've trimmed out. And if they don't reach anywhere, like that one's not going to reach to the other, you just get another piece. That's why you just do a big swatch of it. Can't talk this morning. So push this one on here. Like I said, not pretty on the back, but nobody's ever going to see it. And just do it the easiest way for you because now we have some pretty church windows. So this one, you want to make sure that you have some adhesive on the back that's going to keep both pieces on there. Put your church down towards the bottom. And then you just need a tiny little piece up here for the steeple. And again, you need a tiny little piece of adhesive up here towards the top. All that worked so you could see the paint, and it's still hard to see this. It's tiny, because this is, I thought this was plenty tiny, and it's still a little, you want it long, but narrow. Because it needs to be long enough that it's gonna reach up and get that adhesive. There we go. Now for this one, you want the church to stick up, and this is going to press the limit of how much you can stick in one of these snow globes. So kind of smash it all down so everything's smashed. Now for this next part, Stampin' Up! Doesn't have any great glitter right now, but if you're like me, then you have some past glitters that we've had. I just knocked over all that stuff. So this is a glitter that we had a few years ago, and it came in different bags. If you don't have any glitter from past Stampin' Up! Things, I mean, you can go to the, even Walmart would have some just plain white glitter. So you're gonna take just some glitter and just put it right in the center. But try not to get it right on the church, because like I said, this has pushed. We have as much in here as you can possibly get as far as depth for the cups. So then you get the packs of snow globes. There are 10 in a cup. And if you've watched the jar videos, they're just like those. All of our things like this are very similar. So peel off the back first. And then this lines up right over the top of that. So you can see this is why you don't want your thing all the way to the top, because this will show up here. And then peel this one off. So peel that off. And you can see my church is touching this, but it fits. Because I like to have lots of, I'm a more is more person. And then you're gonna put this right over the top. So you want to make sure that you have adhesive up here in the corners to keep those down. And then we're gonna put some ribbon on here. We're gonna use completely different ribbon on this one than we did on my other one. On my first card, I used the Trimming the Town and added an acorn. It was a little bit more rustic. This one, I am going to use, where did I put it? Our very favorite metallic mesh. So I'm gonna get it first. Got a little fun strip of it. So for the Trimming the Town one, I'll just stick to that. I added the acorn, and then I just tacked the ends over, and I'll put a close-up picture on my blog in case you like that one. So if you're sending it to somebody that's a little less glittery, you could opt for that one because it's a little bit more natural, and because it doesn't have the glimmer blue, again, a little bit more natural. So you want to make sure that that's not showing through the back. And I'm going to wait and tie the bow after I see where my thing ends up. So now stick this on. Start with don't press anything too terribly hard until you make sure that it's exactly where you want it. Because this is not removable. Our seal is repositionable for a few minutes. So if you don't get it, it's okay. This is a little crooked, but for the video purposes, it's going to work. Now we just have this. It needs to be on dimensionals because otherwise it doesn't look like it goes with the snow globe. It's too flattened because look how high our snow globe is. This needs to look like it's not, it needs to look realistic with it. So that's why you want to not do this, because you want to be able to move it. So just line that right up there. You can even put doubles on those if you want, so you get to be a little higher. Now you can kind of pull this, and let's just tie a little bow. Right there. And let's trim this off. And then one last little touch for our pretty snow globe is these are the champagne rhinestones. So we want the base of this to be just as pretty as the inside. So just kind of add them. To some points around to the base of yours. And then just give it a good little shake. Most of the snow is going to end up at the bottom, which is fine. Some of it's going to get caught up in the trees, but then whoever you give it to, they'll be able to shake it. You can see, but I like the way that this is more the mica flake glitter. If you have just like dazzling diamonds glitter, it's not going to fill in the bottom quite the same. It will be super sparkly and beautiful, but it won't quite fill that in. But I hope you can see the champagne mist, how that colored those trees. So this is one, I do like that base on the balmy blue. And this is a little bit more of a shimmer princessy kind of card. These also make the snow globes themselves. There's all kinds of things in the catalog that you can put inside the snow globe. In fact, the zoo globe stamps have that whole little zoo thing that make really fun birthday cards for kids. Excuse me. Here's the other one that I did. So let me point out the differences. This one, like I said, had just the trimming the town, and then the acorn, again, has the same snow, but overall, it's not quite as sparkly as this one. I cut this one a little smaller, and I think maybe I like the smaller background and not the larger. I thought maybe there was a little bit too much of the cinnamon, but now I think I like that better. So, and then this one has the brushed metallic on top and then the copper on the bottom. This one has the copper on top and then the balmy blue. But you really can't go wrong. It's a good one to use up now that we're getting, after we've done a bunch of things with some of the foils and the glimmer paper, it's a great little way to use up some of these really pretty things. And it also uses a bunch of your really pretty shimmer white, because none of those took up very much. And it doesn't take the stamp set. So if you didn't get it last year because you're like, oh, I don't need all that. This again was just the dies. And I think it cuts out, I think it comes with the framelit that would cut out the trees, but I think that's the only thing that it actually cuts out. I'd have to look at it for sure, because you know I smack them all on my magnet board. But that's that. Don't forget about all of my online classes that have signups coming to a close soon or just starting. And when my Try It class for the January mini catalog comes up, you'll want to get in on that right away, because the last one filled up and then I didn't get to a second, and I'm not sure that I'll get to a second with this one either, because we'll be in celebration. So that's my most popular classes during the year when the new catalogs come out and I do the Try It clumps. So be watching for the details, and I'll tell you more about those as they get coming. I expect signups to start probably mid-November, probably around the 10th, around that time frame, 15th. So everybody have a great day. Bye.